So I'd like to introduce myself to you. My name is Sean L. Ward, and I am also a Shaw High graduate, 1983. And I am also a candidate for mayor in this year's election. So I'm very thankful that you all saw fit to, spend some of your day with me, learning a little bit about me and what I intend to do if elected. But let me start off with just giving you a little bit of information about myself. As I said, I'm a 1983 graduate of Shaw High School. My family came to East Cleveland in 1972. I played football, I wrestled, and I also had a nonprofit organization here in East Cleveland now called the East Cleveland Growth Association. We're going to be, oh, please come in. Come in. Help yourself to a lunch. We have meals at the back of the table. So we have an organization called the East Cleveland Growth Association. Most recently, some meals have started to be delivered here on Wednesdays or something like that. If you've gotten any of those meals, I'm sorry?
They're not good?
Yeah, I know, okay? So my group has gotten those meals, and we did hear that those meals weren't good. But we are going to change our program around and let you choose the meals that you want, right? So there'll be more about that. I can't really talk about that because that's the Growth Association thing, but just letting you know we heard you all when you said that the meals weren't good, and we're going to try to do something about that. All right, so, but we also have some other projects going on around that, and then you'll hear more about that. But that's really kind of the thing that I do as far as the community is concerned. That's kind of really the thing that really made me see more than anything else where the need was as far as changing mayor. There are a lot of things that need to change in this community, and I want to make sure that those things happen. There are a lot of situations in the community that are happening that make people feel unsafe. There are things that happen in the community that make people feel kind of hopeless, kind of apathetic, like, why bother, right? Because it's not going to change anything. We have situations where people come into the community and they try to exploit the community and try to take advantage of the community, and they take advantage of the community's resources. We have other people who try to come into the community with the best intentions who are blocked from coming to the community because of the current climate politically and socially and other things, right? So we have to find a way to change people's impression. And the first way to do that is to change the impression of the people who live here. And the way to do that is to come out and ask the people here, what are the things that are making you unhappy? What are the things that are bringing you concern? What are the things that can change in this community that will make you feel better about being a resident of East Cleveland? When my family came here in the 70s, we came off of 105 in Parkwood. And it was a very different experience for me coming to East Cleveland from there. And I'll give you an example. At that time, just a ride from Euclid Avenue, from the Cleveland end to the East Cleveland end. When we came, it rained the whole day we were moving. It rained the whole day. And I didn't want to leave. I was 7 or 8 years old. I didn't want to leave, so I cried that whole day. And my mother let me stay with a neighbor so that I didn't have to actually watch the movie. And, I was in the 2nd grade, and they were getting ready to skip me to the 4th grade. I was leaving all my friends and stuff, because East Cleveland didn't skip grades, right? So I was going to have to come here and be in the 3rd grade and all this kind of stuff. But as we were driving down Euclid, and we got to that bridge at Lakeview and Euclid, the Superior Rapid Bridge, it's like the rain stopped, and the sun came out. And there were trees. And I don't know if you know 105 in the 70s, there weren't a lot of trees, a lot of sidewalk, a lot of brown dirt where grass should be, but not a lot of trees. I saw a lot of trees here. I saw beauty here. I saw people. I saw people playing. I saw kids in neighborhoods. And not that we didn't have kids in neighborhoods where I came from, it's just that the things that these kids were doing were a lot different from the things that we were doing back on 105 in Parkwood. The other thing that happened to me here was that the exposures that I got to different programs, to different opportunities for when I graduated from high school and things like that. And I took full advantage of those opportunities. I graduated from Shaw High School. I went on to college. I worked 30 years in information technology. My day job, I'm a global project manager. I manage projects for global companies all around the world. And, you know, I've gone through that. I've had different business dealings. I've met different people. I've done different things. And all of those things have helped shape me, and they've helped form me, and they've helped grow me to a position where now I can come back and give back to my community in a different way. And it's not just about giving back to the community because the community needs to be given back to. That in itself is reason enough, absolutely. But my desire to give back to the community comes from what the community gave to me. This is payback for me. This is a big, tremendous thank you to me, from me to you. Because I don't really know what my life was going to be. And I don't mean that dramatically, but I don't know what my life was going to be on 105. My mother was a single parent. She's raising 3 boys at the time. You know, me and my brothers used to get bullied. We used to get chased home. There were kids in the neighborhood who used to steal my mother's car battery every night because she was a single woman. What was she going to do? So things were different. And I didn't like that. That didn't make me comfortable. But I didn't know any different. The few people that I knew that went out and went to college came back within a year. But when I moved to East Cleveland, my vision changed, right? The things that I saw changed. Not that those things weren't going on in Cleveland. I don't mean to insinuate that. What I'm saying is I didn't see it. When I came to East Cleveland, it was in full view. Now I am a product of that. And I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you by restoring East Cleveland to the great city that it once was. And not by going back, because that's done, right? Those times are over. But by going forward, there's so much that can be done here. We look out and we talk about how poor the streets are. You know, the potholes, those aren't even potholes, those are craters. And so we talk about fixing the potholes. And then what happens is we get satisfied with fixing potholes. The pothole situation gets so bad that we'll settle for patching because we just really want to get something done so we can drive up and down the street without tearing our cars up. That's a pacifier. That's the kind of pacifier you give an infant when he's teething, right? He's crying, she's crying real loud, put something in their mouth to soothe them. But guess what? Those teeth are still going to come in, and it's still going to hurt. It's not until all those teeth are in that the issue is really done, right? And the child can move forward. But that's the same thing with the streets, because if we keep patching potholes, we're still going to get more potholes. We're going to get those potholes back, and we're going to get more potholes because we haven't fixed the problem, which is an infrastructure problem. So we need to do something to fix the roads, not to patch them, but to fix them. And there are monies for that, but we don't go after it. We talk about tearing down houses because they're blighted, they're ripe for crime, drug activity, and what have you, right? So we tear it down, and we're happy. And then somebody buys the property, and then they put up these big brown stakes, and then that's it. Nothing happens. No new housing stock. You know, most of the people do keep up the properties. Some people use it. They expand their home. You know, they grow a garden there. You know, they use it for recreation or for socializing. But most of the time, it just sits there. We've got to change that. We've got to create a program where once we're tearing the houses down, we've got to plan for the space. You can't support population growth while you're tearing properties down and not replacing it with anything. So you've got to replace it. And you don't fix blight by creating a empty parcel of land. You fix blight by putting something on that parcel of land. And that's what we intend to do. We intend to rebuild the housing stock. We intend to build new houses. We intend to remodel the houses that currently exist. And we intend to add marketability to the homes. Use smart technology, solar panels where we can. Other sources for power. You put a solar panel on the roof of your home, the value of the home shoots up. And there's a program right now in Ohio for people to be able to take advantage of solar paneling at a discounted rate. We need to make that kind of thing available to East Cleveland. We talk about business, new businesses in East Cleveland. And we need new businesses in East Cleveland. But we can't just depend on the same kind of businesses that come to East Cleveland. We don't need a bunch of 24-hour gas stations with Mini Mart that sell chicken at 3 in the morning. We don't need a bunch of corner stores that sell outdated food at an inflated price. We don't need a bunch of liquor stores and a bunch of stores that sell liquor in the event that the liquor store is closed. We need viable businesses that make money, that give people jobs, high-paying jobs, that increase the tax base in this community so that we can fix the infrastructure, we can fix the streets. Because that's how the streets get fixed, with tax dollars. But people can't feel like they're throwing their tax money away. They're paying taxes just because they have to, or they're going to go to jail if they don't. And they see no value from the money that they spend.
Teach it, teach.
You people have been loyal to this community. This community owes you something. It owes you payment for your loyalty. And that's what I intend to do. Pay you back. Like I said when I started, this is my payback. The big payback. My man James Brown. Me to you. Hi!
Say that.
So this is what I'm talking about. And let me ask you another question. Why does East Cleveland have 3 motels? Who's coming here to stay?
Nobody.
Who has a business meeting at 8 o'clock the next morning so they have to get a hotel room in East Cleveland?
Nobody.
That's right. So why is it happening? It shouldn't be. There's no reason for motels to be in East Cleveland unless those motels are used to help the people in the community.
You know why them hotels up there?
That's right. And that's right, because the hoes don't tell. The hoes don't tell, and neither do the pimps. But I'm telling, I'm going in there and I'm inspecting all of that. And if you're not conducting business the way hotels should conduct business, you won't be conducting business in East Cleveland. You don't rent a room out for an hour. Ain't nobody getting a room to take a nap.
No.
They'll sleep in their car. So we got to understand why that exists. If there's a need for it, okay. If there's not, you don't need to be here. 24-hour gas station. What's going on in East Cleveland that you need to fill up at 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning?
Because you've been out all night.
And doing what?
No, you know what they do.
And what are you waiting for in that gas station?
A chicken wing, or you waiting on some drugs, or you waiting on the chicken to come.
It might be both. You might be eating the chicken wing while you're waiting for the drug. Or you might get the chicken wing so you have something to eat after the drug. But regardless, there's no real reason for you to be there. I talked about people coming into the community wanting to do business in East Cleveland. And that's great because we need that. We need that desperately. But if your intentions aren't honorable, if you're not coming into East Cleveland to do the right thing, if the benefit in the end is only to your bank account, you are not coming into East Cleveland. You will not be successful trying to come into East Cleveland and exploit this community in a Sean Ward administration. That will not happen. And another thing, There have been a lot of land purchases going on in East Cleveland. There have been a lot of monies that have been, given out to different organizations, different entities for different services to be provided. You okay?
Yeah, I almost fell down the stairs.
Come on in, help yourself. We got meals in the back. Now, we need to make sure that those purchases were legit and were legal. And if they weren't, we're going to find out what kind of recourse we have. If we can nullify those transactions and get that property back to the city, we will. If we can find these delinquent property owners and make them pay whatever taxes they owe, we will. We will bring in a forensic accounting team to go through the books in East Cleveland for at least the last 10 years. And I promise you, if anything isn't right, not only will you hear about it as a citizen of East Cleveland, the perpetrators will hear about it. From a court of law, from a federal prosecutor, but from somebody. See, I don't know nobody, so I don't owe nobody. I ain't got to do nothing but protect my wife, who's sitting right back there. So I don't owe these people anything. Now, as I go through the campaign season, and as I meet people, and as I come back, if I have the opportunity to speak to you again, you're not going to hear me speak negatively about any person. I'm not going to talk about the mayor. I'm not going to talk about the police chief, chief of staff. I don't need to, because it's not about them. Though the election is a contest between me and them, only in the sense that you all have to vote for who you prefer, what I want to do as mayor has nothing to do with them. I want to do these things because they need to be done. If somebody else was doing it, I will still say that it needs to be done and that I can do it better. Or I can do it more completely. But make no mistake, I can do it. And I will do it with your help, with your support, with your vote. And then, that's when the work begins. Right? The work doesn't begin when you vote for me. Now, that's the beginning of our partnership. Right? That's the beginning of our relationship, where we have a dialogue now that's open, where you can talk to me and I can talk to you, where you can come into the office and we can sit down. There's not going to be an appointment book sitting on some desk somewhere that you have to sign in. There will be time available every day for you to just come in off the street and talk to me, because that's how I learn. All right? And the only limit you'll have is the limit of time, because we want to make sure everybody gets an opportunity. So maybe we have to limit it to 15 minutes a session. But that doesn't mean you can't come back tomorrow. All right, because the only way I'm going to learn anything is if you tell me. And then the other thing I need you to tell me is whether or not I'm doing a good job. Whether or not I'm doing what I said I was going to do. But most importantly, whether or not I'm doing what you asked me to do. And you're not going to have to wait until the next election to tell me that. Because at that point, it's too late for all of them. Too late for me because I'm going to be out of a job. Too late for you guys because I sold you out. I cheated you. I didn't do what I said I was going to do. And I don't intend to let that happen. I don't want that to happen. Now, we can rebuild East Cleveland. Like the $6 million man, better, faster, stronger. We don't have to cling to the past. We don't have to try to make East Cleveland back into what it was. Because like I said, those days are over. Times have changed. There are more things for us to take advantage of. We need to take advantage of it. There needs to be high-speed internet for every resident, for every home in East Cleveland. And there will be. There needs to be street lights on every street, on both sides of the street. Now, the technology is in place for solar Street lights. Street lights, you put a solar panel on top of it, and the heat from the day gets them to be illuminated in the night, including the wintertime. Let me tell you, I got 3 solar cameras on my home. I haven't had to plug them in to anything. I haven't even had to take them off the wall to recharge them, because the sun does it. And that even works in the wintertime. So there's no excuse for us not to have street lights. There's excuses that people make for us not to have street lights, but there's no reason for us not to have street lights. And we will have street lights. Our security forces, our police force. A lot of discussion about what's going on with the police force today around certification versus not certification. You know, unnecessary use of force, turning off body cameras. Let me tell you something. The technology exists for a body camera to be turned on as soon as an officer steps out of the vehicle. And he has no control over turning it on or turning it off. I'll tell you another thing. The technology exists that all of the feeds from the body cameras can be stored to the cloud so that no person can ever have any access to them. So that they can't be altered, they can't be erased. That's what we'll have in place. We won't just put a body camera. Look, the kind of body cameras they put on, I may as well take my computer internet camera off and put it on. It'll serve about the same purpose. We're not taking advantage of the technology. All this money out here, especially now with all these PPP funds from the pandemic, there's all kind of money. Why isn't all of these things like public safety? That's part of resolving the pandemic. You know, there are a lot of things, not just feeding people and giving them masks. Those are important things too. But safety, public safety is still important. So we will make sure that every police officer has the proper certification. If they don't have them, they will have a fixed period of time to get them. If they don't get them, they will be updating their resume. I'm sorry? And they're not only on the county level, on the state and federal level. A lot of unclaimed money that we're going after. The departments in City Hall today don't reflect what's available, what's out in the world today. East Cleveland doesn't have a grant writer on the payroll. Why not? All these grants out here, and we don't have somebody dedicated to just writing grants and getting money, that's going to change. We don't have an IT department in East Cleveland.
Oh, no.
So no wonder everybody has to go down to City Hall to fill out a permit, to pay a ticket, or do whatever business they need to do. Why is that? As an information technology person, I developed a system to do housing permits for the city of East Cleveland in the 90s. In the 90s, people didn't have to go in to City Hall in Cleveland to do a housing permit because they can do it online. Right. It's 2021. Why can't you do anything online in East Cleveland? And then when you go up there, it's a flip of the coin whether somebody's going to even be there or not. I have no idea what the work schedules are. The other thing is, when you walk into Sean Ward City Hall, you will know the difference between the people who work there versus the people who come to visit. Right now, you can't really tell. There's no dress code. And maybe that's not an important thing to a lot of people, but it is an important thing. Because when people come into your city, how is your city represented by the people who you've elected? That is an important thing. Believe me. Believe me. If everybody in City Hall is, and believe me, I'm all for casual dress and all this kind of stuff. But, you know, no matter what the dress code was for any place that I worked at, and I mean this sincerely, I always wore a shirt and tie. Now, I'm an IT dude. I wouldn't even meet nobody all the time. but I always wore a shirt and tie. Because I couldn't wait as a little kid to get to the point where I could dress like a grown-up and put on shoes, put on the tie, put on the slacks.
Professionalism.
Professionalism, that's what it's all about. And so when you see me as your mayor, I want you to know that I'm representing you as your mayor. In my appearance, in my speak, and in the things that I try to do to promote our city. Because this is our city. Yes.
You know, I've lived in these Cleveland since 1991, and we've never had a good mayor, and they've all said the same thing you're saying now.
What's your question?
Are you going to be the good mayor that we're going to find in
Yes, and I'll tell you, I didn't just start doing this stuff now, today, right? When I started the East Cleveland Growth Association 3 years ago, this was our goal. This is Curtis Scruggs, my campaign manager. But he's also the Chief Financial Officer and Chief Operations Officer for the East Cleveland Growth Association.
Who?
The East Cleveland Growth Association. Look it up at ecgrowth.org, and you'll see what we're doing. Now, we came in because somebody asked us to come in and work with them on the Civic Center project. So we said yes. So we came in, and then the same group asked us to be their fiscal agents for the Civic Center project. We said yes. So then we had a meeting at City Hall. And City Hall asked us a question, asked us to do something that we refused to do. They wanted to sign on our bank account.
Typical East Cleveland.
That's like asking you to let me get on your bank.
Right.
Wait a minute. Sean ain't gonna tell you the real story. I'm gonna tell you the real story. What
No
happened?
names, don't use no names.
I can't. What happened was the city of East Cleveland had dedicated $170,000
Where's it at?
to maintain the Civic Center for 2 years. What we did when we came in, because there was a collaboration of groups that asked us to be their fiscal agents for that project, to take up the floor and let me tell you what happened.
Well, hold on, real quick. So we weren't just going to take up the floor. What we proposed was we were going to tear the building down. We were going to move it back
300 feet.
How many?
Civic
300 feet.
300 feet.
Civic Center?
No, the Civic Center.
Right.
Oh, okay.
We're going to tear the Civic Center down because the gym floor sits on pipes for the old ice skating rink.
Right. For those of you who remember the old East Cleveland, we had the ice skating rink right there in Cumberland Mills. Okay. What they did was they built the Civic Center over the old ice skating rink, but they failed to cap the water pipes. So the water constantly leaks.
So the
floor will constantly buckle, and they'll constantly have foundation problems because nobody capped the pipes.
So when we came and they asked us to be on our bank accounts, we told them no. We left the meeting, and the next day, everybody called us and pulled out.
Scared.
So then this other group went in and they pulled the floor up, right? They raised some money and they pulled the floor up. And then after the floor got pulled up, somebody from the city called the EPA on their own project and stopped it. So now the Civic Center's just sitting there.
We bust the doors and windows.
Well, like I said, we told the city, take that $170,000 that you have to maintain the Civic Center and repurpose it. We
Do
don't
something else with it. We didn't want it.
We don't need it. We will raise the money completely, wholly on our own. You keep that money and repurpose it for whatever it is that the city needs. Fix street lights, repair road, whatever it is you need to do, you do.
They need an audit on that.
We don't need your money. We will get our own.
So needless to say, we didn't move forward with that. And then we did a couple other things. And again, I won't go into it because, give me 1 second and I'll get you. We did a couple other things and we kept getting blocked for monies that we were eligible for. And so at that point, we said the only way we're going to do something is if we, move into City Hall and make it fair and equitable for everyone. Let me get her first and then I'll get you.
I just moved here.
in East Cleveland. I lived years ago in East Cleveland. But I was trying to ask you, are you the mayor now?
No, I'm not the mayor now. I'm a mayoral candidate. Right, so my hope is that you all will vote for me in the primary in August and then in the general election in November.
I'm sorry, what is your name?
I'm Sean L. Ward. He's gonna get you some cards, right?
Okay.
And you can check me out on SL Ward at SL Ward for ecmayor.org, and you can learn all about my platform. Okay, you had a question?
No, that's okay.
Okay. Any questions? Any other questions? All right, so to answer your question, yes, I have every intention of being that mayor for you. And you know why? Because you're gonna be in it with me. You're gonna be telling me what to do. And I'll give you an example, right? Because I'm preparing for this right now. See, when I get elected, I'm not gonna come to you and say, okay, now that I'm elected, let's go, right? I'm going now. I'm learning and I'm doing and I'm putting the team together now. So that on January 1st, 2022, we're down to business. We're taking care of business. So one thing that happens in every yearly cycle is a budget, right? So what happens with these budgets? City of East Cleveland has this pot of money. And then you've got these different departments. And these different departments are gonna tell you tell the mayor how much money they need to operate. Then the mayor's gonna go to council, and council is gonna say, yes, no, we approve the budget, right? And so all these people have to do every year is tell somebody how they're gonna spend all this money. Now, nobody ever checks to see if the money was spent like it said it was gonna be spent. But most importantly, nobody ever checks to see if the value was derived from the money that people said was going to be derived. So here's what I'm gonna do. For each department that creates a budget, there will be a citizens group. And not just, any group of citizens who want to be involved, because we need that too. But the leader of that citizens group will have a background in that particular area, so that we can evaluate properly before it even gets to me that the monies are being spent properly and that the monies are needed. Now, what I'm saying to you is, if you all as citizens don't ever approve that budget, I'm not ever gonna see it. So it's gonna be up to you to tell that department whether you approve of their expenditures before I even get a chance to. And this is how it becomes a collaboration. This is how you are engaged. This is how you're involved. And then you come back, right? After the budget's approved, you don't walk away. You come back regularly to check. You'll have that authority. The group will have the authority to call people in from that department and ask questions and challenge expenditure. Again, it's a collaboration. We cannot do it unless we do it together. And we need full participation. We can't afford apathy. Do you all know what apathy is? So we can't afford it. Everybody has to care. It's too important. You have a question?
You can come back here and
Okay.
sit.
Oh, yeah, have a seat. Have lunch too. We got lunch back here. Somebody else have a question? Okay, yeah, so we've got to be active participants. Right? We've got to want the change. We've got to be able to express the change. Then we have to participate in the change.
But see, you have to understand one thing.
Tell me.
All of us here in this room are older people, okay? Your parents, just like our parents, have been through this kind of struggle. And we just haven't seen any proof. And we're tired.
Yes.
You know what I mean? We're tired.
Right.
We're tired of knocking Dr. Banks, tired of you call her on the phone, being on hold, never come back. All of this. I mean, I'm willing to step up to the plate and work with you, yes. But I'm not going to do it only so much because I'm tired.
And let me tell you this, and that's a great point, right? But you're not going to call anybody at City Hall, you're gonna call me because you're gonna have my number.
Yeah, we got you. Go ahead.
Right, and that's my number. And you can call it now. And when I'm elected, you'll still be able to get at it. Thank you, brother. All right, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. You'll still be able to get at it. When Curtis and I were doing voter registration and census taking earlier in the summer, we were sitting down at the Family Dollar every Saturday morning. So so people would come and they would talk to us, and I would we would have great conversations. But a couple of gentlemen at the end of the conversation, they said to me, "I really enjoyed this conversation, but too bad I won't be able to talk to you like this when you're mayor." And I said, "Why? We both live in East Cleveland. You know where City Hall is, why won't you be able to talk to me?" We're gonna eliminate all those buffers, all those people that keep you away from the mayor, they're gone. You will be able to walk into the office, and if I'm there and the door is open, you can come and talk to me.
Won't be ducking us, huh?
I won't be ducking. I will not be ducking. Because if I'm ducking you, I'm not doing my job.
Call me out.
But you do know what I'm saying.
I know exactly what you're saying. Listen, I'm not saying any names because I don't want to focus on the negative, but it ain't because I don't know what's going on. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, what about that little voicemail system they got? Where they route you all over the place and nobody ever answers?
There is no phone call that you will ever make to East Cleveland City Hall that a person, a human, won't answer.
That's what you say.
That's what I promise you. And I don't like to use the word promise as a politician because that's what politicians do. But I'm saying to you, this is how I operate in my business life. The lessons that I learned are the lessons that I needed to do my job. The highest title I held was Chief Information Officer for an organization. But I've been a director, I've been a manager, I've been all these things where I've had to look out for other people too. And I've had to figure out what made my team the most productive. And that's what I'm trying to do. What makes our city the most productive?
I just wanted to ask, like, since you would be mayor, like places like Hayden is just so deserted, it's like a ghost town. There's several streets that's like that. And like even going up, where we at, the front or the back? Going up Neela is horrible.
And that's a shame, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you got Neela Park right up there, a
Right,
gym,
take your
but you got
car.
these horrible
You
street
literally have
conditions.
to drive up the wrong side just to get up to the terrace or wherever.
Let me tell you, I know
Yeah,
exactly
but
what
we
you're
were
saying.
told that they're not gonna fix it.
But here's the
Right,
thing.
so-
Listen. I know exactly what you're saying because we have a remedy for that, right? Our objective is to create districts or neighborhoods in East Cleveland. For instance, we got the library down Euclid Avenue, one of the best libraries in Northeast Ohio.
Yeah.
Right across the street from that is the Windermere Theater.
Right.
On the other side of the street is that old church that's now been turned into an entertainment complex.
Oh, okay.
So why wouldn't we continue that theme and make that a theater
Yeah,
district?
because it's
An
like-
arts district in East Cleveland.
Without-
You've got Neela Park, like you said, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you got Neela Park, here's the reason why you need a hotel, because business people come in to talk to Neela Park. So what do you do now? Now you make that area on Euclid Avenue from Shaw High School going east, you make that a business district. You put restaurants there, you put boutique hotels there, and you encourage the city. Down on Hayden, you got the farmer's market, right? The only place in East Cleveland for a healthy food option.
I'm about to say where?
It's on Coit and Woodward.
Oh, okay, I've never seen.
No, it's open now 5 days a week.
Okay,
And but hold on, let me just tell you real quick. Our objective is to change that whole space into a healthy living district,
Right.
anchored by the farmers market. There are a lot of people who want to come into East Cleveland and spend money and do business and build and develop, but they're just not comfortable with the things that are going on in the city currently. We are having discussions with these kinds of people right now.
Yeah.
It doesn't help us to wait. We have discussions right now so that when we're in office, we're moving on day one. Yes.
Do you guys plan on helping like review
because you see, as you see, I'm the only young lady in here, I'm 30, and I should no way be in this building, and there's a lot of y'all that focus on senior citizens. Yeah, you should focus on senior citizens, what about the youth, disabled people?
You
But,
focus
let me
on,
finish,
go
let me
ahead.
finish. But, you know, y'all focus on the older people, which is great, and I love it. But sometimes they need to focus on the youth, people that's disabled like me, because there's no way I should be in this building with all these older people and I can't find housing, and there's a lot of properties and buildings and all that. I'm just saying, you know.
No, I hear you.
There's no way I should be in this building.
You focus on the need, right? Every senior citizen doesn't have the same need. We are not a group of monolithic people. We all think and act and do the same thing. So you focus on the need. You have a senior in a wheelchair, you have a younger person in a wheelchair. The need is for the person in the wheelchair.
Yeah, but at the same time, you can go all the way around East Cleveland and find senior citizen buildings, but I can't wait till I'm 50 to get in the place.
But is your question, do you want to be in a facility like this, or do you want your own independent housing?
I mean, I feel like if you can go from 30 to, 50, it's gotta be.
No, what do you want?
I'm not thinking about me because I already went.
But you got to, right? Because if you don't think about you, nobody else will.
I have thought about it, but my thing is, me as a person, I'm not looking at myself, I'm looking about what's going on around me, what I have.
Right.
Yeah, it's a personal experience, but yet I have to still talk about things that's not being talked about.
Right, but in order to draw that conclusion, you have to use your own experiences,
Exactly,
right?
that's
So
what
that's
I
why I'm
want.
asking you, what do you want?
I want it to be a youth, like I can't say youth because that's discrimination. I want it to be like, say for instance, somebody is from 20 to like 40, because they can't get a building, and some other buildings are 50 and older. So something not youth, but kind of like, I don't know how to.
You would like a facility like this for people in a younger demographic. That's what you're saying?
Yeah,
Right. So there we go, right? So there's a need, and then that's what we need to work on. So now, there's a use for one of the hotels. Right?
Yeah.
Why don't we convert one of the hotels into that type of facility?
Age group, yeah.
Right. Because there you got, especially in those motels, you got separate doors, separate entrances, got a bathroom in each suite, might even have a kitchenette. I don't know, I haven't been in them. But there you go, right? I'm sure we can find federal dollars that will support converting one of those motels that are currently doing no good in the city to something that'll be useful.
Well, the HUD secretary, the new HUD secretary was the congressperson in this area.
And so we definitely take advantage of that.
I was trying to tell you that, as a kid, riding through the school was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It was the most gorgeous houses, and all the snow removal on the sidewalks. And that concerns me, because I have brain damage from having seizures. And trying to walk up any road over here in East Cleveland is impossible because the snow has not been moving, and then it turns into ice.
And that's an issue of
And
city service.
I have fallen already several times just trying to get to the sewer.
And that's,
So that's what I'm saying, would you try to have snow removal off of sidewalks?
I'm not gonna try, we're gonna do it, right?
Okay.
Especially for the facilities that the city owns and operates. And in private facilities, we'll partner with them to make sure that the snow removal is
Yes.
done. Not only for our seniors, but for our people who have
Everybody,
limitations,
yeah.
in moving around, right?
Okay.
So you, again, it's a need-based thing, right? It's a need-based. We gotta find out what people need so that we can then accommodate them.
Sean,
Yes.
I want to ask a question. Okay, remember when Hero Hospital was up there? And all that lot we got right there? Okay, and all them potholes that been out there where you can't go up Forest Hill? Okay, for years, and all they throw up is gravel. Okay, but they got the barriers right there. Look at that apartment building. Why they can't do nothing with that apartment building? Why they can't throw some babies in there, or do something with recreation with kids.
Or this young lady right here.
That is exactly what we're going to do with that building.
Talk about.
Look at it.
Okay.
Listen. They put up, that area, Forest Hill Boulevard in Superior, right? Two main drags in this area. They put up a barricade right at the part of terrace that gets you to Forest Hill in Superior. How stupid was that? Then you have that empty shell of a building. In all these years, that building hasn't fallen, which says what to me? It's a good structure. Why aren't we trying to find some money to do something with that structure? And if we're not going to do anything, why don't we tear it down and do something with it?
And the one across the street from us caught on fire because crackheads.
Right, and that's the thing.
That's the only reason it got torn down, though, and I said that's a shame.
And that can't wait, right? You can't wait till somebody set the second or third or fourth fire to tear something down. You can't wait until you find a dead body in a building to tear it down. You can't wait until it's falling apart and you're worried about a brick falling on someone's head to tear it down. You've got to tear it down when it's no longer viable.
Well, a lot of rats I haven't been seeing, so
And that's another thing, and as the weather gets warmer.
That building, they said they can't tear it down. Only thing they can do is try to build it because it's a landmark.
Yeah, and if it's a landmark, you know what that means? That there are federal dollars available to fix it. So that's an excuse.
I know.
And it's not even a good one. Let me tell you something. A lot of the stuff, you know, when communities mismanage revenue, they have to find a way to get it back, right? Now, again, without getting too specific about, you know, any particular folks, we look at all these police chases that have happened in the city, right? There's one commonality with all of the chases. Does anybody know what it is? No, it started off as a traffic stop.
Always.
Now, why would a community start to make that many more traffic stops? Because they need the ticket revenue because they ain't got no money.
Because they spend it otherwise.
So it's a money grab. And so all of this loss of life, all of this destruction from these car crashes and all that, all started over somebody not having a tail light or tinted windows. And there's no reason on earth that you should chase somebody through multiple communities for a non-violent traffic offense.
But those had a license plate.
Right.
It had a license plate.
Right. You got the license plate, you can get an address. Mail them a ticket.
Mail them a ticket.
Well, yeah, well, see, those cameras are all about money grabs too. They're gone.
They ain't all gone.
Well, I'm telling you, when I become mayor, they're gone.
We got one right here.
But I'm not mayor yet. So when I become mayor, they will be
I mean,
gone.
that one can stay for the school's sake.
Well, but there are other ways to make the school safe. That camera down here doesn't make that school safe.
I
You
knew
know I know
that
that.
traffic is so fast on Euclid and Noble. It's like you gotta be so careful.
What makes traffic unsafe is the thought that you ain't gonna get caught.
Right. You ain't gonna never get caught.
Look, East Cleveland used to be a destination city. Now it's the city where folks end up.
Exactly.
Right? And we gotta change that, right? Because the folks that end up here don't wanna be here and they don't do anything to keep it beautiful, to make it better. They
What
don't
about the
care because
Arabs?
they think they're gonna be gone anyway.
What about the Arabs?
Well, I mean, listen, you know, the Middle Eastern people are just as viable in the community as anyone else is. No, well, no, wait a minute. We can't start to judge people based on their nationality. What we need to judge them on is their activities and their actions in the community. So that some of the people that are here aren't doing the right things. But they're not bad actors alone. They're bad actors with people in our community who put them sometimes in a position to do those things, right? If you got a gang running around out your store and they won't hesitate to shoot you, no slower than they'll shoot a random person, and you want to maintain your business, sometimes you may give in to some things that you wouldn't give in to before. So we've got to protect the people in the city, the community, the citizens, but we've also got to protect business owners and make sure that nobody's putting them in a bad situation, which means that we've got to change the whole structure about how crime is addressed in East Cleveland. We gotta make sure that we're fighting crime. We gotta make sure that the police force reflects the community that it serves. And we gotta have confidence in the leaders of the community and of the police force. Public safety, right? Public safety starts with public. If the public doesn't feel safe, we aren't doing our job. All right, so any more questions before I close out?
Thank you for coming.
I want to thank you all for coming, all right, and listening, and I want you to know that this message, you'll hear it again, and it'll be consistent.
One more thing.
And I'm gonna
Would y'all support black-owned businesses again?
Oh, we won't only support black-owned businesses, we will encourage it. We will find money to help some of these black-owned businesses get started and get established, right? Because this is a black community. It's not predominantly black, so we can't hold on to that. But it's not exclusively black, but it's certainly predominantly black, and we can't lose that. We have to nurture that, and we have to maintain that identity, all right? But we can't be scared of people coming in. We can't always look to people as being destroyers of our community, all right? Thank you all. I enjoyed talking to you today.